All right, guys, Saturday, January the 16th, 2021. Welcome back to the Tush Mahal. And we're just out here kind of tinkering around. Don't plan on doing anything too substantial today. I'm still waiting on my parts delivery to install the Nissan R200B differential. I was thinking about coming out and taking off the stock drive shaft because I have that shortened drive shaft coming, hopefully next week. But I think I'll leave that be for now. It's actually quite cold out in the garage today, so I've got the heater on full blast. Try to get it a little warmer out here and make it a little bit more comfortable to work. I think what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go back through, as I'd mentioned on a few videos back before I got into this whole differential conversion project, that I was going to look through the bins and figure out what I wanted to do as far as picking items out that were going to be utilized within the engine bay and within the passenger compartment. So specifically I was looking for the heater box because I know I took that apart and never put it back together. So that's one little project I want to look for in here to get that back together. And we're going to look out for some other bits and bobs and sort of do a little bit of organization as far as trying to organize things how they need to go back on the car. So I think I mentioned that I'm probably going to work on the engine bay, putting back the components of the engine bay once the body is back on. So what I'll do is I will track down the components that go in the engine bay, put them in a separate bin, figure out what needs still to be done as far as the restoration is concerned, and we'll do that while we have a little bit of time waiting for those parts to come in the mail. So that's the plan for today. Just going to sit in front of the heater, maybe get another heater going, and we'll just take our time, have a leisurely day out here, and just pick through the bins and see what we can find. All right, we got our box of heater bits, and there's an old core there, and I've got a better one inside, so I think we're good there. Just checking the actual motor for the assembly, and it does work on both speeds. Although it is a little noisy, I think the bearings might be going a little bit, so I'm not sure whether this is fixable or not. I'm going to look into doing a little bit of research about how to disassemble this and see if the bearings are replaceable. So here it is on low speed. So obviously pretty noisy. That would be pretty annoying in the car. Let's try it on high speed. High speed. It's amazing actually how much air these things blow. There's the high speed, and when we turn it off and it decelerates, you can hear the bearings a little bit. Actually, it was pretty quiet on that attempt. Maybe it's fixed itself. Yeah, it's fixed itself until you install it in the heater box and put it inside the car. Not going to fall for that. Alright, at least both speeds work. Anyway, we'll look into, like I said, we'll look into disassembling this and see if we can make this a little bit quieter, especially in the low speed run. You might have noticed I picked out a few more bits from the bin while I was there. Just sort of going through and making a list of stuff that may need replacement. So just taking a look at the front and rear. So the front marker lights, front signal lights, and the rear backup lights, and both have seen better days. So we might look into replacing those. I don't know if these are going to be repairable or not. The lenses are in pretty rough shape as it is. They're pretty cracked and pretty nasty. I like trying to keep with the original stuff if possible. This one is really cracked badly. So, and these have definitely seen better days as well. So we may look to invest in some new bits for the front and the rear of the car. Again, these are 50 plus years old. These glass lenses don't even match in color. One's got a bit of a blue purpley tint to it, and the other is clear. They're pretty close to my, if not exactly the same as my TR3 lenses. So I might actually be able to grab a couple of glass lenses, but let's look at, I know they're cheap to buy, and I know that they're available, so we'll see how much the light assemblies are to buy, and we may go that route as opposed to trying to restore these. Alright guys, back in the garage Monday afternoon, and we're trying to figure out how to get this fan off, and there's a little clip in here that I'm going to have to wrangle off some way, shape and form, without destroying it and destroying the plastic blade in the process. So we'll figure that out. We got some tools here. We'll figure out how difficult that is going to be to get off. Hopefully it'll cooperate and come off fairly easily. So the plan is just to really take it apart enough just to get in there and either oil or grease bearings, if there are indeed bearings in there to actually grease. Anyway, I want to take a look inside, see how it looks, check the brushes, etc., and we'll figure it out and go from there. Wish me luck. Alright guys, we've got the motor apart, so we're just going to give it a clean and a lube where we can. The brushes will still look like they have some life in them, so we'll leave those be. And like I said, we'll just clean it up, reassemble it. Hopefully we'll get it back together okay. A little bit concerned about where these springs came from. I think they came from these posts here, and they just keep some pressure on the cover. But we'll figure it out, and we'll put it back together, and we'll test it before we put it back in the box. Alright guys, we managed to get it back together successfully. It doesn't seem to be making any noise anymore, which is good. The brushes are a little bit difficult to get back in there. If you can imagine working with these big paws, sometimes fiddling around with those little tiny brushes in there can be a bit of a pain. Anyway, it works. There's the low speed, which was making the most noise before, and that seems to be pretty quiet now, so all is good. So we'll assemble this back in the case. I was thinking about rewiring, but the wiring is still okay, so I'm not going to tempt fate and practice my soldering at this particular point in time. We'll just be careful when we put it back in the box and make sure our connections are good. We'll test it again before it goes back in the car. But that's it for now. So that's working and ready to be reinstalled. Alright, we're in the assembly phase for the heater unit. So we've just put the motor back in the top of the case. Added some new foam here around the outside. So fortunately we had some of that kicking around that I've just sort of trimmed down, so that'll be good. I'm not getting the core tested. It looks to be in pretty darn good shape, considering this is actually a new heater box. I actually have another one down there with a core that was less than superb. So we're going to go with this one, which looks much better. Unfortunately, I didn't get it tested, so hopefully that won't come back and bite me in the butt later on, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay with that. So we'll go ahead and we will mate the two together, and I've got the screws standing by over here. And we'll bring you back for one last shot once that's done, and we'll put it on the shelf and wait for the interior reassembly bit. Alright, new discovery. This will not work. This is from a later TR6. I think this is from like a 73 or 74 TR6, and it will not work with the old TR250 motor because the old TR250 case actually has clearance in it for the top of the motor to come through. So, and it's also got this little step in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. So this case does not have that. So I thought about originally just modifying it to drill the hole, but with the little step it becomes more difficult. So that means now that we're going to have to disassemble this case fully. The reason I didn't want to use this case is because a piece of it is broken. This little armature here is broken, and it can be very difficult to get off. It's a little spline shaft here that operates this bottom flap on the heater door. So I don't know. I'm not sure whether I want to attempt to even try to get this out, but looks like we're probably going to have to, and replace it with the one that's on this box. So not quite as easy as I thought it was going to be. So let me disassemble this, pull the core out of here, and we'll fit it in here. And here's the other side. It's a little dirty, but this was freshly painted at one point. So this goes back over on this side like that. So let's take this apart and figure out if we can move the core over to this side. Alright guys, just got done testing the heater box now that it's completely assembled and looking good. So freshly painted, stickers preserved, so that looks good. Just got to put some wiring connectors on here, put a grommet in the back, and it needs a foam seal on the top here, which I've yet to order. So we'll just put that on the shelf, and that will probably be one of the first things that goes back in the car once we get to the passenger compartment. Fits up right against the bulkhead. So that's done. We can put it on the shelf and move back to our Nissan differential conversion, and we'll probably start working on that tomorrow, which is Tuesday, by removing the drive shaft We did get our shortened drive shaft back today, and it measured up fine, so I'm happy about that. The mounting kit is in the mailbox waiting for me to be picked up on Wednesday, so I'll probably start doing the actual conversion by dropping the differential in. Well, we'll probably start disassembly tomorrow, and then maybe we can start reassembling on Thursday once I pick the parts up at the mailbox on Wednesday. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. We will talk to you later.